This is a personal opinion. This is more than anything. I just want to try to provide a massive amount of value because I think that so many business owners try to do so many different things. And I just want to dissect it. So first place, I always like to start with a business owner whenever they come to us and they say, hey, we either want to create content, we want to essentially get more customers, we want to do X, Y, Z, whatever the end result you want to accomplish on the platform. And when I say marketing channel, this might be radio. Like, for example, we had a client that came to us, thought they wanted digital marketing, thought they wanted to advertise through a podcast. And we actually pointed them to the radio. The reason that we put in the radio is because their target audience that they were trying to reach and the means in which they were actually trying to create this advertisement for their organization, for their business, we felt the best possible solution was the radio. So when I talk about marketing channels are social, they are paid media on social, they are radio, it could be print, it could be a billboard. You really, at the end of the day, when we talk about marketing channels that my business should be on, I always encourage every client that we work with to reverse engineer, to look at where is the attention of the end consumer, like the specific people, like where do they hang out? So generally what my encouragement is to you is sit down and actually think about, where does my target audience spend the most of their time? The reason that we are so bullish on Facebook and Instagram ads is because across the two platforms, we can generally reach anyone between the ages of 18 to 35 on Instagram and then 35 plus on Facebook. So that's why we're so bullish about the platform, because a lot of the ads that we run on Facebook can run on Instagram and we can reach a large demographic. And when it comes to lead generation, it's one of the best lead generation sources with Facebook and Instagram ads. That said, if it's brand awareness, you might want to look at navigating different marketing channels inside your business. So it might be radio. If you're starting a podcast, you have to remember that, and this specific client came to us, they wanted to start a podcast. And I said, well, look, you need a distribution strategy. You can't just create the podcast and expect people to just listen to the podcast. You need to have a means to how are you going to distribute that content. So where are you going to put it? They didn't have an answer. So I said, at the end of the day, probably the best advice I can give you is do a radio ad to start. And then as you build the podcast, you can drive traffic in that radio ad to that podcast. So we always try to be strategic with, where does the end consumer spend the most time? What are their pain points? It's like the more that you can understand your audience, the more that you can understand who you're trying to serve, the better you can understand where they are and what the best channel is to essentially reach them on. Can you reach people on every platform? Absolutely. Can you reach people in their 40s on TikTok? Absolutely you can. That's why we say go on TikTok if you have the time. But what I always encourage business owners to think about is, again, leverage your time on a platform that the most amount of people are on. So if you are trying to reach a demographic of an audience that is 40 plus, I'm probably going to be the person that's going to say, hey, you should probably run lead generation ads on Facebook if you're in a lead gen based business. Or if you're trying to reach people under the age of 35, I'm probably going to say we should probably run Instagram ads. Again, it's always best to look at where your audience spends the majority of their time and then reverse engineer. For real estate agents, it's a no-brainer. Facebook and Instagram ads, if you're not advertising on there, you're wasting money at other platforms, because the amount of leads that you can generate on Facebook as a real estate agent is just incredible. You should at least spend some money there. But again, at the end of the day, it's wherever, as long as the marketing channel produces some sort of ROI, and I see ROI by, building a list specifically in lead generation. But if your radio ads are generating revenue, then amazing. That's a marketing channel. What marketing channel should I be on? I just think people don't look at the conversion enough. They don't track the conversion, or they don't have a sales process. So again, when that radio ad, in order to track if the radio ad's working, you need to have a sales process that actually tracks the conversion. And I actually posted something about this literally right under this video on my personal page. Simon Bowen talked about essentially he posted literally today about 3 times the conversion. And he essentially, I want to read this out really quick. When you know your conversion rate, you can make decisions about how to improve it. So the number of companies that don't measure their conversion rate always surprises me. And this surprises me as well. You need to understand your conversion rate. And you need to understand your conversion rate on radio. You need to understand your conversion rate on Facebook ads. You need to understand your conversion rate on social media organic. You need to have a way to quantify your sales process in order to understand whether something is working or not working. And again, there's 2 different things. There's brand and there's sales. If you are going on TikTok in order to create brand, that's a great strategy. If you are going on TikTok and you're trying to reach a demographic 40 plus in order to make sales, that might not be a great strategy right now. Again, you have to reverse engineer and then look at what platform does my end consumer or my target audience spend the majority of their time on. If you do this and you start there and you start to get in the heads of the people that you're trying to serve, who are they? Where do they spend the most time? What Facebook groups are they in? What do they like? What keeps them up at night? What other info products have they bought in the past? What other coaching products have they bought in the past? These are all things that I went through to really understand the real estate industry on a deeper level, understand what coaches are they working with, who are the best coaches in the industry, the Kathleen Blacks of the world, the Tom Ferrys of the world, the Craig Proctors of the world, really understanding your target audience. I think a lot of times people don't understand their target audience enough. Like a dance studio we're working with, for example, they have a really, really clear understanding of their target audience. When we sat down and we started working with them, we said, okay, what type of middle-class family are you looking for? Like, what do they spend the majority of their money on? When they show up to your studio, what do they have in their hand? Oh, they have a Starbucks in their hand. Okay, Starbucks is something that interests them. Again, and then where do they spend the majority of their time? What other info products have they bought? When you can really get inside of the end consumer's mind, you can then create messaging and craft marketing that actually speaks directly to them, that actually helps with your conversion. But then beyond that, you need to make sure that you track that. If you don't, you can't measure what you don't track. And that's really my encouragement today is if you're a business owner, entrepreneur, I really encourage you that everything works. All forms of marketing work. You just need to understand where your target audience is, and then you need to market there. For some of you listening to back either to the replay in Studio PTBO Marketing Hacks Group, radio might be the best option for you, depending on your target demographic. And I'm okay with that. I don't sell radio ads. We don't do that. But what I'm trying to get at is I encourage you, business owner, entrepreneur, to do research, to understand, like, first have a sales process more than anything. I've been very bullish about this, about, under tracking your conversion rate. So when a lead comes in, how many leads do you need to get in order to convert a sale? And if it's 20%, then how do we get to 30%? And how do you get to 40%? But you need to track those things in every single marketing form. And that's really my encouragement today is, just like at the end of the day, what marketing platform should I be on? I think is a larger conversation of where does my audience spend the most of their time? If you're listening to this podcast today, you're probably on Facebook quite a bit. And majority of times, if you're 40 plus, probably Facebook. If you're a marketer, probably Facebook. Instagram is another platform that a lot of people spend a whole lot of time on. It's a great means to advertise, to actually, it gives you the ability to track conversions. But again, that might not be for every audience. And again, if you're trying to reach a demographic, like TikTok is an option, Twitter ads, YouTube pre-rolls, YouTube in-stream ads, Google AdWords. There's so many different options out there. And that's really just my encouragement. Again, whatever your end result is, if you are looking to build a list, in my opinion, one of the best ways to build an email list or a tech subscriber list for pennies on the dollar is Facebook and Instagram ads. If you are looking for direct conversion, YouTube pre-rolls, YouTube in-stream ads are really great for that. It just really all depends on the end. It depends on what you want, what your end result is, and where your audience spends the most time. I hope you found this useful. If you have any questions, people have been DMing me to answer some questions, and I've been trying to provide as much value as possible. I'm showing up daily, just trying to provide a massive amount of value to the business community. I hope you're enjoying this Coffee with Cody's. I hope you have a great day. This is Shorter Coffee with Cody, 12 minutes in. I rant a lot. So thank you for listening. I hope you all have a great day. We'll be back tomorrow to chat about some more marketing, branding, personal development, all those good things. Thanks for tuning in to the latest episode of Coffee with Cody. We'll see you soon.